Hey everyone, it's Michelle Dawson, Nurse Deb from Halloween Ends. You are turning into Cineifier. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Michelle Dawson. Let's sit down by the fire and chat.
Why, hello, everybody. This is Eric Vornoff, host of the Cineifier podcast, where the horror lives and you survive. And we are here to continue Dorothy-athon, because two Dorothys is better than one. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mel Heflin. I am a longtime horror lover and scream queen of over 150 movie credits. And one of my next projects is The Wizard of Oz in Amityville, where I get to play Dorothy.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about a huge honor getting to play an iconic character like that.
Oh my gosh, is it ever? I was so thrilled when I got contacted. Of course, I didn't expect to land the lead of this, but when they wrote me to let me know I was cast in it, I was very excited. And then to find out that not only was I in the cast, but I was the lead, I was, oh my gosh, it was, I can't even describe the feeling, which is how good it was.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it, and I mean I can only just imagine it as to just how thrilled that you were, to find out that you got that call to say that you get to play an iconic character. Because as an actor myself, and I mean even I can't say that I've had that call, and I know plenty of other actors too, and all these other actors that I know, even they can't say that they get to play an iconic character.
Oh, for sure. I can't think of another time when I got to play an iconic character like this. So not only was I landing a lead of a very cool project with some really great filmmakers, but to play something this iconic was huge.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And so, so I guess I'm just curious about the story itself, as to how that you found out that you got cast.
Oh, I was talking to the father of the filmmaker, who's a good friend of mine, Cody Tudor. We were talking, and he was telling me about the upcoming project, The Wizard of Oz in Amityville, and I was like, that's really cool. What a really cool mix of two really cool franchises. And he kind of hinted at me like, I wonder if there's a redhead who would make a good Dorothy. And I was like, me? It was very exciting.
Wow, I mean, talk about a huge honor.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, especially considering that, that this is a very unique Wizard of Oz horror movie because, I mean, yes, a horror movie, but it's a very unique Wizard of Oz movie because, name any other Wizard of Oz movie where it's not just the Oz franchise, but also two franchises.
Right. I don't think I've seen anything quite like this before.
Oh, definitely. And on top of that, and it does make sense considering that both Amityville and Wizard of Oz both are in the public domain.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just the catch is in the book, Dorothy didn't have red shoes, and instead it was silver shoes. And hey, and I totally get it because you don't want to get sued by somebody like MGM,
right?
With millions of dollars in their pocket. Yeah, no, thank you.
It's funny though because when I first learned about the role, I was like, okay, I've got a pair of red shoes that I can jazz up. And they're like, no, we're not. We're going book. Since the book is in the public domain, not the MGM film. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I happen to have a 1940s replica pair of shoes that are so comfy, I would dance in them.
Okay. And so, and so then therefore you and then can use those then.
Right. And they just, oh gosh, they fit so well with the costume. I finally tried on the costume very recently all together for a photo shoot as the character.
right there.
Yes.
But yeah, I kind of had to be on an awkward angle just to show it. But hey, I did show it.
I was so tickled. I forget the name of the artist. They've mentioned it to me several times. Uh, but I was blown away when I saw the sketches, and then when I saw the official artwork. They really did capture my likeness very well.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely spot on. And yeah, what I like about your look is that yes, if you saw it, it does scream Dorothy because of the hair and the blue. But at the same time, I also like how it's its own take.
Thank you. Costume building really builds the character for me. That's like half the battle in my case. And gosh, I was really going for farm girl. I was originally considering, do I do barefoot? Do I, and since it's a continuation from the original story rather than a complete retelling of the story, it just sort of made sense that she's already got the heels instead of being barefoot like a poor farmer girl. But everything else, the apron, everything for me reads. And of course, the gingham and the bows and the red shoes, that's very iconic of the MGM film. So I just steered clear of all that.
Yeah, and it's definitely wise. And I mean, heck, I mean, a copyright, even on YouTube, I mean, it can get crazy. I mean, even just by putting up public domain movies up on YouTube, and that's what I've had happen. And there have been movies that I know for a fact are in the public domain, but yet I would get like copyright strikes and all that for it, and I'm like, that is ridiculous. But yeah, but I definitely hope that that's not gonna. I'm pretty confident that it won't happen to you guys. But yeah, but I mean, I've heard of stories even on YouTube where somebody has like a Batman poster in their background, and then they get in trouble for that too. I'm like, are you kidding me? A Batman poster?
Whoa, that's so wild. I can definitely relate though because I am a horror host where I play Poppy Butterington, and not that long ago there were two different films that I horror hosted that were taken down off of the YouTube for the people that I horror host for. And it was wild because I was pretty sure they were both public domain.
Yeah, wow, that is crazy. And yeah, and it only goes to show, yeah, if you do your research and double check and make sure something is public domain, and if you can prove it's public domain, you definitely should be safe.
Right, and then it's so interesting how you've got public domain, and then you've got things that aren't public domain, but then you can use parody laws and changing 30% of stuff. It's so wild what falls where.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it's funny you say that because that's actually how the Grinch was able to be made into a horror movie, because that's not yet in the public domain, but they got away with that under parody law, but they just couldn't call him Grinch. That's why they called him the mean one.
The mean one, yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, and because of that, I've had a lot of people think that the Grinch is public domain due to the horror movie, and I mean, they definitely are not stupid to assume that way, because I can't see their logic. It's because of the Winnie the Pooh horror movies and Peter Pan and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, because my most recent film was The Legend of Tinkerhell, and because it is coming from Peter Pan being in the public domain, but not Disney's version of Tinkerbell. It's so interesting. So we have to call her a fairy and not a pixie, and there's different rules there. It's beyond me. It's above my pay grade, but it's so interesting to see the way people figure these things out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I mean, it takes a lot of research, and it takes a lot of actually understanding how all that works, because Mickey Mouse actually went public domain a few years ago, but it's his first appearance, and
the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's only that version. You can't have him wear the yellow shoes. You can't have him have the red trunks. You can't have him wear gloves. He can't have that iconic voice. And Mickey Mouse, the name, I guess, trademarked. And so that's why all these horror movies about Mickey Mouse are calling him Steamboat Willie or just calling him Willie. And yeah, and I mean, hey, and I mean, people will see, I mean, all that you need to show is, those like three circles, and people instantly know what you're talking about. And from what I understand through trademark, you just can't make people think that it comes from Disney. But right away, nobody is going to think that a Mickey Mouse horror movie came from Disney. And so,
I would think these things, but sometimes I probably shouldn't, but I look through comments of videos because how can you not? And sometimes I'm really surprised some of the things that people think, and this is why I can no longer read the most reviews of movies that I'm a part of, because people amaze me sometimes.
They do. They really do. And I mean, even outside of the film industry, I mean, there are people who amaze me in good ways and in dumbfounded ways. Like when I used to work at Sonic, one time we needed a plain hot dog, and one of the cooks didn't know what a plain hot dog was.
Interesting.
Yep. And I mean, there's no way that the reaction you had was the same one that I had.
I mean, obviously, it's a hot dog. You pretend it's a plane.
Well, in that case, I guess you could say that's just plain wrong. Yeah, definitely. So anyways, a little bit back on topic. So it's funny that we mentioned the MGM movie and public domain, because from what I understand, in a few years, the MGM movie will be public domain. And so therefore, if you just keep those red shoes, because I have a feeling that eventually Blaze will want to do a sequel to this. And so, now I want to be clear. Blaze has not said anything to me about a sequel. And so, basically, I'm just saying, just for argument's sakes, if he does want to do a sequel, and if he just waits until when the MGM movie is public domain, he then can have the red shoes.
You're right. It's funny that we got on the topic of Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse, and now we're on the topic of Blaze, because he's actually going to be coming out with a movie called Mean Boat.
Ooh.
And as we can assume, that is a take on Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, awesome. And so, with the whole thing about memes, so I'm assuming that he's going to be taking on all of like these Mickey Mouse memes.
I'm not really sure. We haven't talked too much about it in a little while. I know that it's giving him a little bit more trouble getting that one off the ground than it is some of the others. So it's taken a bit of a backseat. But I have absolutely no doubt that when it does come out, it's going to be fabulous. And he's gonna find a way. And as things always seem to come full circle in my life, I am going to be playing Tink.
Awesome, yeah. And so getting to play not just one iconic character, but two. Like, wow.
Right.
Wow, like, somebody needs to give you an award.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, so as far as that Meme Boat film goes, I mean, maybe perhaps that if Blaze does intend to have Minnie Mouse in there, since that you were already Dorothy, maybe it's possible that you could be Minnie Mouse.
Oh, how fun would that be? I'm going to take a look at the Mean Boat IMDb. That's the word. IMDb.
Okay, yeah. Do you have an idea as to when he's going to film that?
I think that he's got pieces of it filmed already. I'm not entirely sure, though. I know that my piece is going to possibly be filmed from home, since I'm going to do a bit of a wraparound. So I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, and when I first found out about the Wizard of Oz in Amityville, I was like, man, this is a project that would be right up my alley. But then I saw that it's filming in October, and in October I'm gonna go to North Carolina to go be in one of the witchcraft movies. I'm like, I definitely would love to do Wizard of Oz in a miniville, but I'm not sure my exact dates yet for when I will be in North Carolina. So I was like, oh man, it was. But hey, but I mean, scheduling conflicts is something what actors deal with quite often.
All the time. I think that I have potentially one of the months coming up. I have 4 different projects that are trying to schedule around each other, and thankfully, I am not on set for a month at a time like I used to be. We film these movies so much faster than we used to, and it's only like 2 or 3 days here and there. So like 2 or 3 days times 4 is only 12 days out of the month, which isn't that bad.
Yeah, and I mean, it's especially nice knowing that nowadays that it has become a lot easier, to schedule it, and I mean, especially considering that a lot of indie films are getting done pretty fast. I mean, heck, like especially that first Winnie the Pooh horror movie, was filmed in only 10 days. 10 days.
Yep, that's pretty common. This, a few years ago, was one of the first times, and it was a very well-known filmmaker who's really, really talented and really good. We were filming the entire feature in 7 days, and this was, I want to say, like 2014, and I wasn't used to that. The shortest feature I'd ever been on filmed just around like 30 days, and I was like, is this for real? And there were some people that I was talking to that were like, no, that's not possible. People don't make decent movies in that amount of time. But it turned out being one of my best, one that I'm very, very proud of, even to this day.
Yeah, definitely. And and it only goes to show that if the right people are making it, for them to make it within that short amount of time, I mean, it really shouldn't be that much of an issue.
Right. As long as people kind of know what they're doing, it's no issue at all these days to make a full feature in 10 days or even less.
But yeah, I kind of feel like that, that films getting filmed fast kind of get a bad rep. Mostly it's because of Ed Wood. Well, and I want to be clear, I'm not talking about the Ed Wood movie with Johnny Depp. I mean, the actual Ed Wood director himself. And you might have seen the Ed Wood movie, but there was that really funny moment as to when like Tor Johnson's trying to go through, to like that door, and then he bumps into part of it, and then it shakes, which obviously shows like that it's obviously a set. And then someone said, I think that we might want to redo that because it's obviously a set. And then it was like, no, I mean that is something what Lobo would have to deal with every day.
I was good friends with Conrad Brooks. So Ed Wood and Conrad Brooks and that style of film, it's got its people that people are really into that style, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I mean, heck, and I'm such an Ed Wood fan, which, but yeah, so I actually got my last name actually off of Bela Lugosi's character, like off of Bride of the Monster. And so, yeah, and it was because I got so tired of nobody knowing how to pronounce my original last name, like a Vierthaler. And, I was like, I still want to be Eric V, but I want to be a heck of a lot easier for people to say. And then one day, I then watched Bride of the Monster. I was like, wait, Bela plays a character named Dr. Eric Vornoff. His character is already Eric V, so I was like, bingo, that's what I'm going to change my name to. And yeah, and I can only imagine as to just how, if Ed Wood and all of them were alive today, knowing that somebody 70 years later actually would actually change their name to a name from a character from a movie that they made, they would feel honored.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning about how you're actually friends, like with Conrad. How did that come about?
We used to do a convention together called Horror Find very early in my career, and we just had a good old time, and he was just like the sweetest thing. We would always enjoy each other's company, and he would see me come and he'd be like, "Okay, come on!" Like we'd sit by each other and I'd listen to his stories. It was really nice.
Awesome. And wasn't he in the 1994 Ed Wood film?
Was that? Which one was that?
So there actually was a biopic about Ed Wood. It came out in 1994, and it actually did have Johnny Depp. It had Martin Landau, and I believe Conrad was in it too.
I'm pretty sure Conrad, some good friends of mine over at Darkstone Entertainment, I'm pretty sure they did a biopic about him too. If you wanted to check that out, I'll have to find it for you.
Okay, cool. As soon as you find it, I definitely would appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely. And so for what I saw on your Facebook, you getting cast in The Wizard of Oz in Amityville actually is a full circle moment, because you actually auditioned for a Wizard of Oz play once.
Absolutely. I was only about 6 years old, and it was my first audition of my life ever. And I remember I was shaking. I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I was auditioning for a Munchkin as part of a musical version of Wizard of Oz, and I didn't get it. And I was so mad when I found out that I didn't get it, and some of my classmates were being, chosen. And I went home and I told my grandma, "That's okay, I'm going to play Dorothy one day." And I had forgotten all about that. It had flushed from my brain, submit it and forget it or whatever. And, I never expected to possibly play Dorothy. And then soon after I got cast, it's like, wait a minute, this is bringing back memories. And we actually did a field trip to go see, oh gosh, I must have been 6, first grade. And I remember not really being jealous at the time, but like, oh gosh, they have to stand on stage a long time.
They do, yeah. And in my own opinion, I feel like that theater acting is just a little bit harder to do, more so than film acting is, because with film acting, if you make a mistake, well, then you can just cut cameras and then just redo your line. But with theater, you don't have that. I mean, you have.
I suppose it depends on the director, because there's definitely been takes where I was not happy with it, but they chose to use it anyway. Either that, or they let us refilm it and then went back and used a different take anyway.
That is fair, yeah. That is fair. But say if you're filming and then out of nowhere it's supposed to be a serious scene, and then you end up laughing, and then at that moment, they definitely will have to redo it.
Sometimes. You'd be surprised some of the takes that I've seen people use. Entire flubs have made it into the movie, where I know we went back and redid.
You definitely have a very good point. Depends upon the director, which, now that you mention that, there actually was a flub that was in The Dark Knight that ended up making it to the final film. It's that iconic shot of when the Joker is dressed up in the nurse costume. He's walking towards the camera away from the hospital. He pushes that button, and
oh yeah, and it doesn't click right away.
Exactly, yeah. But Heath Ledger stayed in character, and he was pushing.
That's the importance of staying in character.
Exactly, yeah. He stayed in character, and and then it eventually went off. And another example is that in James Cameron's Titanic, there's this part where Jack tells Rose to go sit on the couch. He messed up his line, and he said, "Go sit on the bed." I mean couch. But yeah, and then so I can understand why Leonardo thought that he would have to go and then redo that line. But then James Cameron liked it, and they was like, "Nope, I'm gonna keep it in."
Yeah, sometimes it definitely works.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and so yeah, and if I were to play devil's advocate, maybe why for the Dark Knight, why they didn't redo that shot, because that shot alone with the hospital exploding probably cost a lot of money, and they're like, we can't really afford to redo that, so we might as well should just keep it in.
Oh gosh, there's definitely so much stress whenever dealing with effects. Effects shots. And you don't really know what you're doing because you've never done anything quite on that scale before. Because there's definitely those moments, and then you just
Yeah,
hope that the take turns out
just keep those fingers crossed, right?
exactly.
Yeah, and heck, and even from experience, I can say that even doing digital effects too, I mean, even that can be hard too, because you have to have the right software, and it can be time consuming. I mean, heck, there was one time for my second movie when I was doing digital effects, it took me 12 hours just to do one simple shot that only took a few minutes up on screen.
Oh, thankfully, I don't ever have to deal with those sort of things.
Yeah, for that you have to have a lot of patience, and yeah, there are some people that have that, and some who just don't. And for all those who don't, all I say is I don't blame you.
Right. I already do everything else. I make props and I act and everything else. I really, gosh, I don't think I'd have any time left in my month at all if I started learning to edit like that.
that is that is fair, yeah, and especially since for me that was just a labor of love, and so yeah, and so if I got paid for it, then that would have been cool.
Right.
So yeah, and so once when you realize that for you with Wizard of Oz and Amityville, that it was a full circle moment. So so did you feel like that was the universe like finally answering what you said all those years ago?
Very possibly, but gosh, that's, you know, the universe often does give me exactly what I need, but no more than just what I need. So uh, it's it was a very short time where I felt like I wasn't getting very many castings, and I take summers off usually for the most part because of lack of childcare. So the summers are extremely difficult. It was very nice for me to know that I've got the Wizard of Oz and Amityville before summer, began. That I had something to look forward to at the end of the summer.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, and and I also feel like that it is perfect knowing that's going to be filming in October, because I feel like that to film a horror movie in October, because everybody on set and then also will be in that mood is because it's the spooky season. So
Oh, for sure, for sure. And there's something very special about filming in October on a multitude of reasons. It really puts you in that like horror watching mood, and that it just feels spooky. But not only that, whenever you have to stop at a gas station after getting blood on you and filming, or you're hungry at the end of the day and you've totally got the fake blood splatter on you, people just look at you a little less funny when it's in the month of October.
oh, definitely, yeah, and I feel like that oftentimes that can create like some of the funniest stories, and I have a very similar story to that. When after I played Freddy in a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film, where my friend was driving me to on set, and I was in the makeup and full costume and claws and all that, and then we were driving by this grocery store, and we saw like this older couple, and then I thought it would have been funny as if as soon as we drove by, as if I rolled my window down, and I didn't say anything. I just peeked my head out, and I had the claws out, and then I'll never forget. One of them yelled out, "What the fuck?" And oh my god! And yeah, and that's a moment that me and my friend, you know, We still talk about that to this very day, and that was way back in 2015.
That's awesome.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can imagine for you, that you might have some similar stories to that.
I've got so many, but people always talk about coming to set, especially zombie movies. I've specifically done like probably around 10 zombie movies. So you always hear from the actors like extras like, "Oh, I'm gonna wear this home. I'm gonna wear this to the gas station." It's all fun and games until the cops actually are using some sort of like x-ray, making sure that a fake hand doesn't have any bones and it's actually made out of silicone, because there has been multiple occasions where not I, but the effects artists, usually the ones making the joke, like, "Oh, haha, what if I were to get pulled over?" It's actually very scary whenever cops are investigating, seeing what's going on. There was most recently, I think it was last year, I was working on a movie called Blood Red Beach in New York. I think it was New York. Somebody screamed, and the area we were filming, they weren't used to people filming. So they sent the cops out, and the cops were very, very nice and very happily and relieved that it wasn't an actual crime scene. There was nobody actually, screaming for their life, but it was just, us filming. But they, of course, had to take the report seriously and write some stuff down just in case anybody else calls or something. So I was happy to give my information. But in those moments, it's like, it feels very, very serious. And it doesn't really, like you're relieved, like they're actually checking stuff out. But there's always in the back of my mind, like, did I scream too loud? Did I actually do something wrong? Like,
yeah, and I've noticed that even when people didn't do anything wrong, legally or anything, as soon as they talk to a cop, that survival part of your brain and then gets activated, and then you get more nervous and more calm, and when you're talking to an officer, because knowing that these are people who do that anything, if they find out that you did anything wrong, they then can handcuff you and have to deal
even
with
when you don't
stuff.
do anything wrong. There was one time that I can't remember if they put the handcuffs on me or not.
Hope not.
But I was suspected child trafficking. I know.
Why do they think that?
So the makeup artist was kind of new, and the makeup was very bold. It was extremely bold for going out. I forget which restaurant we were going to. I think it was Hooters, because I liked the fried pickles. And we were taking a break from a shoot, and there was nothing off about the shoot. It wasn't like see-through lingerie or anything. I think it was like bikinis and, very typical, like, right down the line stuff. But the next thing you know, there were cops, and we were escorted outside, and my fried pickles got cold, and I was giving over my business card to the police, like, "Look, this is totally normal." I was 20 something, and I was like, "Look, I'm just a model, this is happening, blah, blah, blah." And one of the cops yelled at me and was like, "You're not a model or anything. You look like a 13-year-old who got into mommy's makeup." And the makeup artist was so mad at that statement. And then,
I see why?
Yeah, gosh, like, sometimes it's just not fun.
Well, I'm really sorry.
Most of the time it is.
Well, I'm really sorry that you had to deal with that.
Yes, all part of the job. You take the good with the bad.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, a funny story about that is that I heard that when they were filming Friday the 13th Part 7, there was one time like when Kane Hodder was in full-on Jason costume, and it was after they got done filming one of his scenes. Kane Hodder, just wandered off, and then he just happened to have ran into, some younger people like who were hiking on the trail, and then I believe one of them, had to, do their business, and they had to, take like a little urine stop, and then Kane Hodder, out of nowhere, just popped out from the woods, and then they were screaming and running away.
That number one turned into a number two, I bet.
Oh gosh, I mean, I can only, yeah, exactly. Imagine how much more embarrassing it would have been if they were taking a big fat one.
Oh gosh, I can picture that too.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, it even would be embarrassing even for them to do a number one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, oh gosh, but yeah, well, I guess lesson learned, never piss in the woods. Yeah, and then a similar story when they filmed Part 8, when they were actually filming in Manhattan, whenever they were filming, Kane Hodder was waiting in between takes, and people actually were watching them film, because, I mean, when you're in Manhattan, Exactly, because it's not very often when you actually get to see a Friday the 13th movie being filmed,
right,
especially in Manhattan, out of all things. And yeah, and I've been to Manhattan. There's a ton of people there. I mean, there's people after people after people after people. And then, and then when some of these people were watching, Kane Hodder would, like, do this, and then actually scare them, and...
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
But yeah, definitely, so you said that you have been to New York before, so and then it goes back to The Wizard of Oz. Have you ever seen the Broadway show of Wicked?
No, but I read the book years ago before it became a Broadway show. That must have been, gosh, probably soon after it came out.
Okay, cool, and yeah, and so with all of that said, do you feel like that you'll take some inspiration from the Wicked book into your performance?
Probably not. I did read the script, and it seems like it's entirely, just different than anything else, and it's got this like psychological horror element more than anything else. It's very much. It a little bit reminds me of the sequel to Wizard of Oz a little bit. It's very out there.
So when you say,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
Okay, yeah. So when you say the sequel to Wizard of Oz, my intuition is telling me that you're talking about the Return to Oz film. Okay, yeah. That, I mean, people after people after people who I've met who have seen that movie, everybody has said the exact same thing. And
it's
that
out
one
there.
Thing that that, but they've also say, man, when I saw that as a kid, it scared the crap out of me.
It's definitely like a fever dream.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I can only imagine, like say that you're listening to Because I Got High by Afroman while actually, smoking weed and watching that movie, you would be tripping out. I was gonna go to Oz, but then I got high. Yeah, definitely. And I did research for that movie. Disney, I believe, who made that movie, they wanted to have the red slippers, but they actually had to get the rights from MGM in order to have those reds. Those
MGM probably didn't come off of that, did they?
Well, from what I understand, they did, but they had to pay a fee. What the fee was, I have no idea, but
we can only speculate.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a lot of money.
Right.
But yeah, and I mean, they probably thought, hey, we need that money to pay for our bills, so why not, right?
Right.
Exactly. And so with all that said, with you, so with you gonna play Dorothy in Wizard of Oz and Amityville, have you ever felt that need to go back and rewatch the MGM movie?
No, I feel like if at this point, if I were to go back and rewatch the MGM movie, I would possibly pull elements from the MGM movie into my performance, which we're trying to just stay away from. So I'm trying to stay pretty true to my own interpretation, which is terrifying. There's a lot of trust I have to have in myself right now for this. But I have a lot of faith in the script. It's a very interesting script, and I'm very interested to see how we're going to pull stuff off, but I'm also very excited to see how we're going to do some of these things. I'm just looking forward to seeing it. I know that Blaze films and edits very, very fast. It was really amazing when I worked with him recently on the Exotic Zoo of Terror. We would be settling down and having dinner at the end of the day, and he would be editing scenes, like, while we were eating, and he'd be like, "Oh, check this out! I just edited," and we were just like, "You're crazy to have that much edited so far." It was so cool. So I know that it's probably not going to take very long. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Definitely, but I mean, at least you don't have to wait, like, say, a few years in order to finally see it. So
it's killer. Wow. Some of the wait times on filming to release.
Yeah, like, say, a really good example with my first movie. Funny how you mentioned that you were in zombie movies, because I also was, and that was my first movie where I was a zombie. And yeah, that was filmed in 2013, and it didn't finally come out until 2015. So I had to wait 2 years.
Oh gosh. So I filmed on the Profane exhibit. This was probably 2010, and it just came out like 2 years ago.
Wait. That was filmed in 2010?
Mm-hmm. My parts, yeah. 2010, 2011.
Wow, so it took over 10 years.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how come that took that long?
I don't have a clue. There's a lot of times when people think that I have a little bit more to do with movies or a little bit more say than I actually get. But I show up on set and I do my best, and then I go home and I wait, and I might get to hear things about it, but aside from me seeing anything official, I have no idea.
Okay. I mean, if I were to guess, maybe they had other projects they had to do, maybe life responsibilities.
Well, it was originally going to be 13 directors from all over the world, and I believe that it ended up being 10 directors from all over the world doing this anthology. I have no idea besides that.
All right. Well, as much as it sucks, it took over 10 years, but hey, at least it finally came out.
Right. I'd much rather see things come out after 10 years than not at all.
Exactly, yeah. But I can only imagine that, that once you finally saw it, it probably felt weird, to see a much younger version of you in it.
It always feels very, very strange to see younger versions of myself in film, because over the years I work on so many projects that there's quite a bit that I forget, and I forget, seeing behind the scenes footage. I'm like, whoa, I was actually like that. It feels like an entire lifetime ago. I feel like I am not that person anymore. So it's so bizarre to get to see those things.
Exactly. It's because that when you look back at that old role of yours, you pretty much are seeing you're pretty much like you're seeing like a time capsule,
right.
That's who you were at that time versus who you are now. And I can't help but feel like that you and that can get very deep and philosophical about, where you were then versus now, and then everything that happened in between, and, and as to what led for you to be from there to where you are now. And
oh yeah, there's so many times when my life comes full circle around, and the one of the things that I did on the profane exhibit was I had this big, like, dead pig mask. And it was so fascinating. And I can't give away too much because this movie isn't officially out yet. But one of my recent big projects is a movie called Pig Shit. And the killer has a pig mask. And, you know, it's over a decade in between. And it's like my life is just constantly coming full circle. And, you know, shout out to the universe is so cool.
Exactly. And as soon as you said pig mask, maybe it was intended, maybe just a coincidence. Saw was the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess you can say that you saw that one coming. So speaking of Saw, I imagine that with you being a big horror fan, that if you ever were offered to be in any of the Saw films, like as a victim or whichever, you probably instantly would jump at that.
Oh, I would love to be a part of pretty much any of the major franchises, especially Scream. I really love that franchise specifically. It's just, you know, it was one of the first movies that I really, really, really loved slasher-wise, and I specifically for a while wanted to make my career about slashers and creature features. So Scream is one of my favorites.
So
it's just it's so meta.
So would you say that was a franchise that? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So would you say that was a franchise that inspired you, like, to get into horror films?
You know, me and my mom used to watch a lot of horror together. Very specifically, we used to watch a lot of Tales from the Crypt.
Okay. So yeah, and so it sounds like it was more so Tales from the Crypt that inspired you.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Those three specifically are huge highlights for me that really gravitated me towards, you know, the spooky side of life.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, I've met a lot of people who have said that they're big fans of that show, and I can see why, because there's just something really appealing about like its host. You know, it's like it's creepy, but at the same time, it also kind of had that charismatic charm to it.
Right. Very specifically, I remember being fascinated with the puppet, trying to figure out if there was somebody inside it or not. And I remember just being amazed, like, is there somebody? Like, it was so lifelike. It really threw me off.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it's kind of odd, you know, to say that a dead corpse, like, has that charisma. It is weird to say that, but hey,
for sure,
it obviously worked. But yeah, it definitely worked. Yeah, and so with all of that said, so right now the popular trend is to take advantage of public domain properties and make them into horror movies. I mean, this is definitely right up there. And so if you had to take any public domain property and make horror out of it, or maybe to broaden it more, even a public domain property that's not yet public domain, I do know that Batman is going to go public domain soon, and Superman will too. So yeah, so if you had to pick one, which one would you pick to make it horror?
I'm going to think about that for a second. I'm not entirely sure on my options since I've never really...
Totally fine.
Gosh.
Yeah, like, I believe Mickey Mouse's dog is going to go public domain here soon, and what you could do with that is that you definitely could go like the full-on, you know, you could go the full-on Cujo route with that. But yeah, I mean, to make Mickey Mouse's dog into pretty much Cujo, that would be cool. But Batman, I would say that does make sense to make that into a horror movie because, you know, Batman already is a really, really dark character in the first place, so So yeah,
Yeah, Batman is definitely a really, really fun one.
yeah, and so yeah, so would you say that you are a big Batman fan?
I definitely used to be, probably more so back in the day. I used to have several pairs of Batman pajamas. So that was, little me really loved Batman. Um, there's been a couple of times I've almost signed on to Batman fan films, and I would have really loved to have made one, but fan films so often don't get completed or started
That's a shame.
like I wish they did. I know. I know. I
It's a
would do a lot
shame.
more fan films if I could.
Now that you mention that, you know, because Poison Ivy has the red hair, and you do, somebody definitely needs to cast you as that.
I would love that. Very recently, I have been thinking about it, and then actually, I was thinking about it, and then I saw the same week that they're going to be creating another live action Scooby Doo movie. I would love to do a Scooby Doo fan film. Maybe not specifically in the horror realm, which is very interesting because everything I do is horror, but I'd love to do something that's, Scooby Doo related.
Yeah, now that you mention it, all right, it's been a long time ever since I've seen Scooby Doo. Wasn't Daphne the one who had the red hair?
Yeah, I would love to specifically be Daphne, but um, I wouldn't be mad just being associated with something, fan film, Scooby Doo wise. But I would definitely not be mad at all, being shipped with Velma.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and I mean, if they had you as Velma, you would have to just wear a wig, or you could just dye your hair.
Oh, I wouldn't dye my hair. I'm sure I could find a wig, though. I wear lots of wigs.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And I mean, heck, and I mean, there are tons of people in the film industry who wear wigs. Like, heck, Jamie Lee Curtis, when she did the original Halloween 2, she actually did wear a wig. And yeah, and from what I heard, it was because after the original Halloween, she cut her hair short. And then they're like, well, this takes place on the same night as the original. And it would make no sense on the same night, after getting attacked by Michael Myers, she then goes to a hair salon and go, yeah, I was just attacked by Michael Myers, but, I want to get a haircut, please. But yeah.
There's definitely been weirder MacGuffins.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely. But hey, but I got to admit, Jamie Lee Curtis, with her short hair, she pulls it off perfectly. But yeah, I guess that Jamie Lee, just has that short hair face, I suppose.
That happens.
And it does. All right. Well, anyways, that about does it. We're only about we're just about an hour in. Before we wrap these up, for the audience watching who's excited to watch Wizard of Oz in Amityville, what can you say to the audience for their expectations?
I don't think it's what you are going to expect. And I hope that it's not what you expect, but I hope you have a really good time when you get to watch it finally, because I know I am. I'm so excited.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I'm excited to see it too. But yeah, we just gotta keep our eyes out for it. So
Yep, totally unexpected, and it should be coming possibly sometime this year. We'll see.
yeah, I guess maybe around December, I suppose.
Very possible, the way that Blaze likes to edit.
Yeah, definitely. And so, can we expect to see it on Tubi?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
All right, well, just gotta wait.
The best way would probably be to pre-order if the Kickstarter is still open, and if the Kickstarter is not still open, you can always reach out to Blaze Tutor.
All right, cool.
Killable
Awesome.
Productions.
And about the Kickstarter, I actually saw that one of the perks actually is that whoever's, gave to said so and so perk actually can get the dress that you wore.
Yes.
That is cool. That is so cool. But anyways.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to end up being a piece of history.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh, definitely. But anyways, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for coming on here. And yeah, and I definitely would love to have you back on sometime. And I definitely hope that you and I can collaborate sometime.
Heck yeah. That'd be awesome.
Oh, definitely. So anyways, stay scared and stay Cineified. Thank you all for watching. And be sure to follow Mel on all of her social media forums. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Stay scared and stay Cineified.